Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Module 2 of Office Management. And in this module, we're going to be talking about presenting a professional image. I know you've probably all heard the phrase, first impressions matter. And in a professional setting, that is absolutely true. We don't have to talk about whether it's right or wrong. It is a fact that people are often going to form opinions about you within just a few seconds of meeting you in the business world. And a big part of that is going to come from how you present yourself, okay? And a big part of how you present yourself is how you dress and how well you are groomed. Groomed means how's your hair? What's your makeup look like? What you got going on with facial hair? Does it all look neat and put together? So today we're going to walk through what that really means and how you can use your appearance as a tool to communicate confidence, competence, and professionalism, okay? I know a lot of us, our appearance is a way that we express ourselves, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can sort of maybe bring that into your professional look. But in the work world, in a professional work world, I realize there are some very trendy kind of work environments where it might be different. But say you were an administrative assistant at Panola College, what your appearance needs to communicate is those things: confidence, competence, and professionalism. Okay. And we're going to start with workplace dress codes, because almost every workplace is going to have some sort of dress code, even if it is a very casual one. Okay. They vary quite a bit. There are places where you wear uniforms, obviously, and that's what you have to wear. But as far as just you wear your own clothing categories, they usually fall into 4: casual, business professional, and formal. Casual is the most relaxed, okay? T-shirts, jeans, sneakers, those types of things. Even then, you still want to look neat and put together, but it's just a sort of a dress down type office. You wouldn't want to look dirty ever, even in that situation, but you might not have to buy specific clothing for that type of job. Business casual is probably the most common that you see in offices today. It is what we have at Panola. Sometimes it steps up a little bit if there's a very important meeting or something, but mostly day to day, we wear business casual. And that looks like slacks and a collared shirt or a blouse, a skirt, tailored pants, not jeans. We can wear jeans on Friday, but business casual generally does not include jeans. You're expected to wear slacks or a skirt, but you can, you don't have to have a jacket and all that. You can have a blouse or a button up, that type of thing. Then you have business professional, which is what you think of when you think of the old movies. It's very traditional. You would see them in the office. All the men had on, suits with the jackets and ties, and the women had on either the women's version of the business suit or a very tailored dress, not like the sort of flowy summer dresses, which I love to wear to the office, but they're very fitted sort of tailored dresses with dress shoes and all that type of thing. That was very much the norm for a very long time. Most dress codes have relaxed some. You will see that sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes here at Panola, if we have a meeting that is going to involve maybe people from outside businesses, I usually try to ramp it up a little bit from business casual to business dress. And then finally, formal attire. Formal attire, unless you have a really fun job you got to come tell me about, is going to be reserved for special events or high-level business functions. Rarely, I can't think of any jobs where you're required to wear formal dress every day, but that is something you would go to a work event. If they're having like a ball of some type to bring in maybe people who are going to contribute to the business in some sort of way. But that's formals like a formal dress or a tuxedo, that type of thing. That will happen occasionally in some businesses, especially if you work in a higher end industry. You might be required to come to those type of events, and that's something you're going to want to know when you're hired on, because you might not have anything to wear to that type of event, and you might have to consider the investment that's going to be required for you to, attend things such as that. The key takeaway here is this. I love clothes, so I understand wanting to love your clothes, but the goal is not just to dress how you like when you're going to work. You have to align your appearance somewhat with your workplace culture, because it shows awareness, respect, and professionalism. It is okay to let your personality and personal style show through in certain ways. Just don't do it at the expense of the workplace culture and requirements. Do it in addition to. You can stand out with fun shoes that you love and accessories, colors, that sort of thing. Just keep the overall impression in line with the professional setting. I like to wear chunky loafers with some of my dresses, but most of my blazers, even if they're for a more business professional setting, are brightly colored instead of neutrals because I like color. That's the way my personality shows through. They're small things, but they reflect my style and personality without pushing the limits of appropriate office wear. And that's just kind of what all of us have to do and adapt to in the workplace. Also, dress for the occasion. Okay, interviews might require a higher level of dress than the regular work week. If I was going to an interview, I wouldn't wear business casual. I would wear business traditional. I would wear more professional looking clothing. Do your research before you go. If you aren't sure exactly what you should wear, it is always better to be a bit overdressed than underdressed. Bear that in mind. No traditional office is going to be turned off if you show up in slacks, button-up or blouse, and a blazer. That's always going to work. So bear that in mind if you're unsure. Unless you're going to work in a very trendy company where the dressing down and the jeans and the t-shirts thing is a big part of their image and what they're trying to project, then you cannot go wrong with the traditional look. And if you're going to work for that type of company, you're going to know that. You're going to know that that's who you're interviewing for, and you're going to know that that's what their expectation is. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about professional wardrobe because let's face it, I'm a very practical person. Clothes are not free. Clothes are not free. They cost you money, and workwear is not what most of us wear in our lives, right? I don't wear what I wear to Panola College to work out shopping or on dates with my husbands most of the time. So you're going to need some clothes that are specific to work, right? You're going to have to spend money on clothing that's just for work. So with that in mind, I just have some recommendations for you. Shop smart. If you shop smart, you don't need a huge closet full of workwear. Think basics. Think capsules. Those capsule things are very important, and those are awesome. They give you multiple pieces that all work together, so you can take 6 or 8 pieces and make 12 or 15 outfits with just those pieces. That's important. Over time, I would recommend that you invest in some good, high-quality pieces that will be timeless. There are certain pieces of workwear that the style of doesn't change that much, right? Slacks are kind of slacks. Some of them flare, some of them are fitted, but basically black slacks are black slacks. And while I know it may take some time in your career to build that up, if you eventually invest in a really good pair of great black slacks that look great on you and that you love, you will have them for years and years and can wear them for a long time to come. So that's important. You'll find companies online. I'm not going to throw any out because I'm not going to do any free advertising for anybody. But if you look up workwear capsules, you can find them everywhere that will help you send you pieces within your budget that you can mix and match and use as your workwear outfit. One of the very most important parts of a professional image is good hygiene. Hear me on this, regardless of dress code. Whether you work in the most casual place or the most formal, grooming and hygiene are always going to be essential. That includes things like clean, wrinkle-free clothing, clean hair, neat hair, trimmed nails, clean nails. If you have facial hair, that's fine. As long as it's fine at the workplace, it's fine. Just make sure it's neat and trimmed and clean. Your shoes need to look like you didn't just tromp through the mud. They need to be clean and polished looking. It includes a clean, odor-free body, okay? We need to be clean to present well. On the flip side of the topic of smell, don't overdo it in the work world with things like perfumes, lotions, and cologne because we don't work alone most of the time and we need to be considerate. A lot of people are allergic to different scents. And so especially if you love floral or woodsy scents, sometimes people are going to be allergic to that, right? So use those lightly, use them sparingly, and be prepared to use them not at all if your work neighbor starts sneezing every time you pass by. Okay, we need to be conscious of those types of things in the work world because it shows consideration for the people around us. Okay, now your module is going to give you a lot more specific information on all of this. And there are videos related to dressing for the workplace. I just want to say this off the top. Some of these videos are geared towards specific traditional genders. And I'm aware that not everyone identifies in the same way. That's perfectly okay. I've already spoken to this, but let me give you this caveat one more time. No human being can go wrong with slacks, a button up, and a blazer. Okay? That's going to work for everybody for just about any occasion. So bear that in mind when in doubt. Slacks, button up, blazer is going to work. That is a universal workwear uniform that will work for anybody in an interview circumstance for sure. Okay, your assignment for this module is a self-assessment and the quiz. The quiz is going to be standard. We're going to have one in every module. I said it last module, but let me say it again. Please do not AI the self-assessment. That very much makes it not a self-assessment. As long as it is on topic, in complete sentences, and relatively grammatically correct, you're not going to do poorly, okay? Like I said last week. Also remember, if everyone AIs it, everyone's going to give me essentially the same answer, and then we're going to know we need to adjust some things because I've got an issue, okay? That's all I have for this week. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Good luck with your assignments, and I will see you in Module 3.